and welcome to Autocar Professional. I am Prerna Ledhu and I'm joined by Mr. Fritz, who's the CTO at Varroc. It's a beautiful time that we're living in right now in terms of software-defined vehicles, AI, so much of churn happening in the industry, and this is a great time to sort of have you and have like one of the brightest minds in the industry to sort of talk about the kind of disruptions that you expect. Let's start with that. What are the key trends that you see will change the course of the industry from here on?
So keeping it simple and making it not too long, the software-defined vehicles are creating a tremendous increase of function being implemented in software. Software only runs on electronics. Functional safety and cybersecurity is causing also electronic to getting more complicated. So the needs of software also going down into the needs of electronics. And now when we have all these ecosystems of components that have a microcontroller and the software talking to each other in a vehicle, we see, and we saw in the past, that it's not efficient, that you have network management problems and so on. So the next level is to bring together clusters, hardware clusters, and combine the software functions. Saying that one, the conversation needs more to happen between OEMs, between tier ones, focusing on the function and how you do it and how you jointly develop it. As a tier one supplier, this means for us, we need to be ready to have the resources having this conversation on the system level and having the skill set to implement this more complex electronics and hardware. And with that, also the amount of engineering needed gets higher. So this becomes a challenge now to balance it, that you still can create affordable systems. So system engineering is key to not implement unnecessary functions. And that I will say is the overall thing in a nutshell.
Yeah, very interesting. From Varroc's perspective, how do you see, how do you predict the future? Because a lot of, like ironically, we're talking about AI, which sort of helps us predictability and, planning a lot more efficient. How do you, as someone who's working in the industry and looking at the R&D part of it, the technical and the innovative, how do you sort of navigate the future from a Varroc's perspective in such a globally changing world right now?
And for Varroc, since Varroc has hundreds of products, it's even a bigger challenge.
Yeah.
Since the vehicles are changing, the change from traditional powertrain to EV, the change of more functions into software. So all of this is reflected in our products. And now you also bring AI into it. That is, I clearly mentioned, a helper in the development, but never, it cannot be the root. The root is the system engineer who defines what is working and the AI is helping. Varroc navigates that way that we have a strategy on AI, not only on development level, it is production, it is on company level. We broke down a strategy where AI can help us. What are the tools needed there? And now you find it everywhere. And in all my departments, you also find it. We use AI to predict the candidates for simulation, to bring simulation downtime, self-learning models like that. So AI becomes a helper, and we broke it down to every department, to software, to electronics. Everybody has his roadmap, how AI comes into that. That's the AI part of it. And on the other side, we have the conversation with our OEMs to understand better the function the vehicle needs and how much is expected we are doing and how much the OEM wants to do and how much we want to bring into the cloud, because we also have our cloud solutions with Varroc Connect, and then we can offer a complete solution or parts of it. But we need to give this freedom to the OEM and have this conversation.
Is cybersecurity going to be a big challenge going forward while you're navigating the other parts of the ecosystem?
For me, cybersecurity is just another add-on. The bigger add-on for me is functional safety, because if we implement all these functions in electronics and software, you need to have a process that is fully traceable, otherwise you cannot implement functional safety, and then create a system that is still safe, goes into safe state. So that's Varroc very early began to develop according to that one. Now you asked for cybersecurity. Process-wise, cybersecurity is just adding also a dimension of looking at the requirements where we need to take care in terms of cybersecurity, but cybersecurity goes into the whole life cycle of the development. So we need also to think of where do we produce this unit, where software flashes later on, if we have cloud solutions, where somebody can attack our system. And so cybersecurity has become an integrative part of our development, the same like functional safety. And you cannot leave this out anymore. No matter what an OEM is demanding, or this is state of the art. The ISO 26262 and the ISO 21434, the cybersecurity norm, they are state of the art. So you need to work according to that. So it has become part of our development ecosystem. And it was not coming immediately on one day. It was a development going, and it's going more and more into that. The more functions you are using that are safety critical, or the more functions that are vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks, the more you need to implement. But it's not a one point, it comes here. It is a continuous process where more and more content comes into that.
Yeah. For the longest time, India was seen as the service industry of the world.
Yeah.
With AI and SDVs. This is again, do you see this as another big opportunities where India can contribute at some level, whether it's localizing technology, building innovative products? We see what's happening with different countries becoming more protectionist and how the global geopolitics is changing. So how do you see India's potential in that context?
I tell you, India did always a great job. The outside world, that's my personal opinion, the outside world a lot of times just saw India as a best cost country.
Yeah.
That's why this service thing came into place, where you can do some remote tasks cheap. But now, if we look at today, where India is developing, Made in India is a very strong initiative. We do more and more development out of India. Our Varroc engineering is an India engineering. For the India business, we do in India only, and it was always like that. So this competence has grown there. And so I'm convinced, if you want to develop a system for the Indian market, you need to develop it from the system broken down here in India. And with all these new systems coming in, and you know how fast growing the market here in India is, that's the big chance that India shows, and all these Indian engineers show, we do our own systems. And other suppliers that are globally active try to bring products to the Indian market, localize them, recognize it's not just making parts, exchange the supplier from here to an Indian supplier. This does not work. It needs to be developed here. So yes, it's not SDV, it is just the growing demand on components, on products. This creates the need that India can show its real strength. And I'm convinced such a system can only be competitive if it's developed in India by people here, by system engineers in India. That's what Varroc is doing, and we are very successful in that one.
Yeah. Tell me something. How do you I know you don't like buzzwords, AI and SDV is exactly that. So a lot of companies are getting into it now. It's the bandwagon of today, whether it's EVs, whether it's AI, whether it's SDVs now. How would you differentiate Varroc engineering going forward in the future? What will be that defining quality, that moat for companies that are suppliers and that trying to build that ecosystem today?
You know, you mentioned a lot this transition from IC powertrain to EV.
Yeah.
Tons of people were predicting this. I'm in the EV powertrain business since 2011. There were people running around predicting in 3 years the whole market will change. The market is changing, but what I'm saying is nobody exactly knows what happens. We are in this, a lot of another buzzword, VUCA world. That means volatile, unsecure. We don't know exactly what will happen. And the best way, and that's what Varroc is doing, to be able is to be capable of doing everything. So if there is a traditional powertrain coming stronger, we are doing this. We continue. We are able to deliver EV powertrain. We deliver. You cannot put all your horses on one. You need to be able to adapt to what is there. And then you can make adjustments and say, okay, we do a little bit more in there. But our strategy is be ready for whatever is there. Don't try to predict, because very honest, our customers also struggle in predicting what is coming.
Correct.
That's why roadmaps are changing nearly quarter-wise, nearly monthly-wise.
Yeah.
So better be what India is great, resilient and flexible. Resilient means changes are coming, your development roadmap does not fit anymore, nobody will be angry. We just see what we can do and then we change. And if it can be changed, we will change it. So that's the strength, and that's, I think, exactly what we need to do. You should not try to predict too much.
Yeah.
You should be ready. SDV is a trend that comes with all products, so you should be ready skill-wise. But in terms of products, EV or IC powertrain or whatever, just be ready what is there.
Yeah. So even if you're a 40-year-old company, you have to be nimble enough to change with the times, and that's what will sort of define you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You need to be flexible. And that's why you need also these minds that everything can be done. You should be able to make a change and not work against it. It's lost energy.
Yeah.
Better think about how to adapt, not why we cannot adapt.
Right. Just lastly, leave us with a few trends on how it will change the course of the industry. What will it do? How will it translate on ground? We know that we're talking about more software-defined vehicles on ground, but then what will it do to the cost structures? What will it do to the kind of safety that you were talking about? So how will it actually define the industry going forward?
It's not such a magic. The thing is, the technologies are there. The Indian market is growing very fast. India is the most competitive market. So the challenge for the future is to bring all new, I don't say technologies, features to the users with the best price, best affordable product. And that is not just making it cheap. You need to make it very smart. And we discussed today a lot about how you make the right system. So that is the trend currently. There is a permanent trend of being the most cost-efficient development that we can do. So the most cost-efficient products are coming here from India. And now these products, people all over the world want to use them. So we export now more and more.
Yeah.
So just we need to be very clear what we already do. Our quality standards need to fulfill global standards. That's the clear trend. We cannot look at India only. We need to look at global standards. And if I see our Lightning development, how many homologations we do for 20 plus countries, that's what you need to be fit. You need to know the global ecosystem and need to be able to deliver our cost-efficient product to the world. That's the mission.
Yeah.
And then technologies, there is not so much magic happen. It is just an evolution rather than a revolution coming here. But it's a fast evolution.
Yeah.
So
faster than anyone could have expected.
Exactly. So don't sleep, be active, be agile. That's the thing.
Yeah, lovely. On that very lovely note, thank you so much for spending
I
time
thank you.
with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.